In 1990, Hollywood took 4 teenage reptiles, gave them $13 million, and created the highest-grossing independent film of all time. For its 35th anniversary, it's coming to theaters in August with never-before-released scenes added. Perfect for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fans everywhere. But here's the thing nobody talks about. This movie is absolutely weird. We're talking Jim Henson puppets throwing real punches, a villain who looks like he crawled out of a horror film, and fight scenes that are legitimately brutal for a kids' movie. 35 years later, is this bizarre puppet fever dream a forgotten masterpiece or just nostalgic nonsense? Buckle up, because our review might surprise you. Hello, please come in. There's some fresh cookies in the cookie jar. There's a pitcher of Kool-Aid on the counter. Have a seat. We'll put a movie on for you. This is Movies at Grandma's House, where we look at the movies from the past to see with our modern eyes it's still good and Grandma approves. And I'm your host, Isaac. Cowabunga! And who is joining me to cover the movie? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
This is Seth. Never lower your eyes to an enemy.
Very nice. Welcome one and all to Grandma's House. We're happy to see you stop by. How are you doing, Seth?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. I didn't mean to throw you a curveball, but I can't help it. I see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You got to sing it. It just comes naturally. So yes, this is a special film. I think if you are a 90s kid, a true 90s kid, this is going to be a film that hits you right in the nostalgia. So I can't wait to get into this one, but we want to make sure you have your proper spoiler warning. So if you have not seen this film, consider yourself warned. We're going into spoiler territory. So once again, we are covering the film Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It is the 1990 film, though. It was released back on March 30th, 1990. It had a budget of $13.5 million. It had a box office, though, of $202 million. Looking around the reviews, IMDb, it has a 6.8 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, it sits at a 43%. Metacritic is a 51 out of 100. Unfortunately, it is not streaming free anywhere as of this recording, so you're going to have to rent it, buy it, or bust out that old VHS. It stars Judith Hoag, Josh Pays, Elias Koteas as Casey Jones, and Corey Feldman is Donatello. And another fun fact, Sam Rockwell is one of the thugs in this film. This was distributed by New Line Cinema. I think a lot of people associate New Line Cinema with this film. We'll get into, again, the nostalgia that this has. But before we do, the final thing we have to get to is Granny's family-friendly rating. So, Seth, what is that?
So Granny's family-friendly rating for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is a D+ for language, smoking, and violence.
Not much of a family-friendly, and we're going to talk about it at length. But yeah, Grandma, this will be a tough one to really get on Grandma's good side, just with all the contents. We'll break it down. We'll get to it, because that might be a little bit of a surprise. But before we do, let's start with our first memories. And my goodness, 35 years. I'm sure there's a lot of memories. I'm interested to hear from you first, Seth.
So a family member told me that we went to see this in theaters, but I really can't recall. Although I thought that I had seen it before the home viewing. So I guess that makes sense. I just don't really remember that being in a theater. So I will get into it, but yeah, I saw this as a very young child.
That's an interesting memory. And yeah, when you see it in the theater, when you're so young, it's hard to remember sometimes. I know some movies like that. They said, yeah, you watched this as a kid. Don't remember it. Only when it was on rental or we bought it and had it on VHS, that type of stuff. For me, this is a movie I don't remember seeing. This was actually one of those movies that was kind of frowned upon, and it had to do a lot with the violence, a lot with the, these are ninjas, these are weapons, and For the most part, you look at them, they're like superheroes. They're mutant. They were normal turtles. They became these super turtles. So that's kind of the viewpoint and why it's targeted more to kids. But growing up, I didn't see it till I was a little older. I remember seeing it and thinking, okay, I see what the hype is about, because 80s spilling into the 90s, it was just everywhere. What else is there to say? It's still dominating media to this day, but to actually be alive during that time, I can't describe it other than it was just something else. It was such a dominating the media. Every kid would tell you their favorite turtle. I mean, it was just that type of media, that type of show, movie, and so on. But with all that said, again, this was 35 years ago. I'm just interested to hear, what was your expectations on the rewatch?
So I was really hoping this would hold up to my memories, because I remember watching this over and over as a kid. So yeah, I kind of had high expectations for this one, I guess.
Gotcha. Well, my expectations was, I'm trying to think back the last time I saw it. It might have been like 15 years ago. And I remember thinking it was okay. It definitely was starting to kind of show its age a little bit. But I, as always, was like, I wonder how my kids are going to take this one, because this is not the traditional movie we put on. We like, the more animated and happy, la la la. We'll get into it, but I remember it being a little dark. It had some elements like that. So I was just kind of like, here we go. I'm just going to introduce them and see what happens from here. Well, before we get to our plot rewind, let's pause just a moment to hear from our sponsors. Hey, love movies as much as we do? Then bring the experience of the theater to your walls with movieposters.com. Whether you're into the classics, the blockbusters, or indie gems, they have something for every single film fanatic. As a listener of our podcast, you can save up to 15% on your order right now. Just use code Grandma'sHouse15 at checkout. Head to movieposters.com and let's build your ultimate collection today. All right, let's take the movie out of the VHS, let's put it in the VCR, and press play.
Through contact with mysterious ooze, 4 turtles who live in the sewers of New York City mutate into intelligent, pizza-loving humanoids and are mentored in the art of ninja combat by a wise rat named Splinter. When evil Shredder attempts to take over the world, the turtles set out to stop him. This is so 90s. Find a blanket, Grandma's dusting this VHS off, and take this one from the old shelf. Prepare yourself for turtle power.
Turtle power, that's right. Very, very nice. There you go. That sets the tone for it. Oh my goodness. Let's jump into this. I am so curious. What is your first impressions when you're watching this film?
I was just flooded with memories. It's like when someone tells you something or you hear a song and it just brings back loads of memories all at once. And as the movie progressed, I was like, oh, I think I know what happens next. And it had been a long time since I had seen it as well, but it was just a flood of memories, I'll tell you.
That's how it was for me too. It's just something about that Jim Henson, the puppets. I got to hand it. I'm still impressed. I mean, he was so well regarded, especially in the 80s, for the different, Muppets, Sesame Street, all these things. And they got him, obviously, for this IP being so big. It had the monster TV show. So that kind of all came back of just, wow, this just really oozes 90s. You have that Jim Henson feel with the puppets and how they're not CGI like they would be today. I mean, there are CGI Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is authentic. This is real life back for its time, the technology and the references. I mean, man, it's just like it really is a time capsule. There's few films that I really felt it that much with this movie. I mean, I was just taken back. It was just like, wow. With that said, though, I'm curious, what did you think of just anything really, the atmosphere, the plot, those types of things about the movie?
So what stood out to me was that the premise has more in it than the plot. the plot isn't deep at all, but there is a lot of action and humor. So I guess they kind of make up for the lack of plot with what's going on, like if that makes sense. Like it's not well scripted, it's not well written. They just have a lot going on in each scene, and that makes up for it. I mean, I saw the only thing I could say, really.
That's kind of how it is. It really does feel like it could have been an episode of the TV show. It was very faithful to the material in that way. I do feel like it kind of went a little more darker. Now, I know all the big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fans out there, if you're hearing me right now, they're like, but the comics are dark. I've heard that. I've never read the comics, but I can say I've heard, yes, they are very dark. So when it was adapted to be a TV show, it got really dumbed down for kids. That was their target demographic. And the movie kind of does that, but it does introduce still some dark themes there. And even the look of the movie was dark. I watched this on DVD. I was able to score a copy. I didn't own this, so I had to search out for it, but I got it. But it was actually kind of dark, like hard to see. Did you notice that? Maybe on a different format that you watched it, you didn't notice it. But was it just maybe on the DVDs or the older format? Is it like that?
I'd say it's probably better on mine. However, I do remember some scenes being extremely dark, but the whole movie it wasn't. It was, I mean, they kind of upgraded it for the Blu-ray, so it's definitely was easier to watch, probably.
Okay. Maybe if I watch it again, if it's like on Blu-ray, I'll be able to see. But I was like straining actually on the DVD. That's the version and I'm thinking VHS isn't going to be, it's going to be even worse, like hard to see. Especially like the flashbacks, Splinter, I was a mouse at one time, when he's talking and there's all these flashbacks. It was really hard to like see what was going on in that way. But, it's still, I could pick up on the nostalgia again. There's a few scenes of like, oh, I remember that scene in the 90s because I was a lot of the like things that were in the trailers they had in the movie. And that's what I actually remember more was what was in those trailers. But we got to get to it. The characters are just famous. So I have to get your thoughts. Like, who's your favorite turtle, or what do you think of the gang? Those types of things. I want to hear your thoughts.
As a kid, I had two clear favorites, but now as an adult, I like them all. I go back and forth, and so I can't really give you an answer to that. I will say that each character was very well pronounced in their identities. They gave a really good clear cut of who they were real quick. I just loved the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as a kid. I'll even throw this in there. My mom used to play the NES version of the game with us. So, I was a big fan. I had a lot of the toys. I was a big fan of the Ninja Turtles as a kid. But I will say that I did forget that Sam Rockwell was in this movie. I saw his name come up on the screen and I was like, what?
That was odd. Like, just, it's hindsight, right? Now he's gone on to make a career for himself, but this was his early beginning. So yeah, it was kind of crazy seeing that. Like, whoa, I don't remember. I didn't either. I completely was like, what? And I want to say the last time I saw this, like I said, about 15 years ago, he was a well-known actor at that time. Yeah. So I don't know why I didn't recognize him at that point. I guess I forgot if I did, but I don't believe I remember.
He looks so young. So, I mean, that is something. I'll give you that. It was just shocking because, like you said, he's a big actor, well known nowadays. And a lot of people think he's a great actor. And I would probably agree with them. So it's just shocking that he was in this movie and I had zero recollection.
It's still cool though. Like, yeah, it's just neat when you look back on things. You don't take note of actors, obviously, because they haven't made a name for themselves. But after the fact, it's a lot of fun. That was kind of the fun part of watching this movie, and just 35 years that have gone by. I mean, it's just oozing with that 80s vibes. Even the music I mean, it's just like complete 80s vibes going on. I do find it just surprising. I'll say one thing that kind of took me out of it was, we mentioned Granny's family friendly rating. And what I would say is there's a lot more like language. There's a lot more adult themes for saying this was more geared towards kids. And the fighting was pretty intense. Wouldn't you agree? What did you think of like the action sequences?
So really what stuck out to me was the language. I was shocked because it started at the beginning and it never stopped. And the fighting, all the action and violence was pretty hardcore. It wasn't tamed down or watered down for anybody. It was really in your face. And there were some scenes in there that were kind of hard to watch.
I mean, it's got the action that you can associate with the show. That it does a good job of that. I think the sequences, the choreography of the fighting, it's good. But yeah, these are turtles with weapons. They aren't just bow staffs like Donatello and just hitting people with sticks. I mean, they've got actual swords and size. So it's just kind of a surprise. I actually thought there was a fun fact on that, and I think it's maybe a future one. So I'm gonna put a pin in that one, but just kind of put a tease. Maybe we will revisit it. But I could have swore they said that they got their weapons out, but they didn't actually use them. Like they might have blocked and stuff. They're using it in this film from what I was catching. Sometimes it was going so fast you don't catch it, but I don't know. Did you catch up on that too?
So I did notice there's a couple times where they didn't make contact. And that might have been what they're trying to say. But I guess now that you say that, they didn't show any like stabbing, I don't think. And that's probably, I would say, the most violent thing they could have shown. I guess it wasn't as bad as it could have been. That's a positive.
Right. Yeah. I go back to like, I don't know what the comics are like, but I've heard it's pretty intense and definitely not family friendly. So they could have went there. This is definitely toned down. They did not go to that point, but I mean, they're definitely fighting. I mean, I'm thinking of my grandma. That's probably why I mentioned as growing up, it was kind of frowned upon because, I mean, they're fighting. It's definitely a fight. So you got to give them credit because it is well done choreography. It looks pretty real for a bunch of turtles in suits that are fighting against other people. So I give them credit for that. But I was just, I guess, it's like a little disclaimer, like, wow, I thought this was a little more toned down, but no. Again, it's dark on the actual picture, at least on my viewing, and then it actually kind of got a little darker, like we mentioned, on the language and maybe the violence a little bit. So just make mention of it. It actually shows a kid smoking because it's the Foot Clan. They're a part of that gang, and it's trying to show their edginess of, Shredder is got these kids doing what he wants, his bidding and all that. So it does capture that very well, but it was still like, whoa, I actually seen a kid. He looked like he was 11 years old smoking. So different times. Still kind of crazy though, but I mean, it was something. What did you think about April and Casey Jones, the actors that played their characters?
Okay, so this is when it brings back the nostalgia. I really loved those two when I was a kid. I thought they did an amazing job. I had forgotten that the actor that plays Casey was, he's been in a lot of things I love. He was the father in The Greatest Game Ever Played. He was in a really, really, really intense episode of House, Dr. House. And he's been in a lot of stuff. He's a really good actor. Her, on the other hand, I don't really remember anything else she's been in, but I loved her character because she was so bubbly, but yet she was like, I'm not going to take anything, it was a lot of attitude, a lot of sassiness, I guess you could say. I like that. That was really cool, but I thought they did really good.
Yeah, I thought that was a good strength. They did a really good job casting. They fit those characters. If you know April and Casey Jones, their characters, that's actually what I enjoyed. I mean, the turtles are fun. They have their moments, but I was actually impressed. Like even going back to, I appreciate that casting that they did overall with those characters. And then you have Shredder. I mean, man, he just screams 90s. I mean, what'd you think about Shredder?
I read something somewhere about like making fun of his costume or whatever, but Um, so I associate it with comics. I read a little bit of the comics when I was young, and the video game, and then the cartoon. So that is what I kind of think about when I think of Shredder. So the movie kind of was weird to see him in live action. It didn't quite translate as well as the other forms. I don't think it held up as well either over the years. But it was still interesting because he was kind of creepy. So I did that was still came across.
He was intimidating, that's for sure. He just had this like death stare going on the whole time, and I mean, hey, that's what villains, you want them to be scary in some cases, not always, but in Shredder's case, he's supposed to be intimidating to the turtles, and he does a good job of that. He fights him at the end. I found it really funny. I was just kind of like, one thing I will say, this movie does have its corniness. I mean, this was just the sign of the, whatever you want to call it. It was that era of movies. But they fight him, and he just mops the floor with them. And they're huddled around like, what are we going to do? And Shredder's got his back turned, and he's got like his arms crossed, and he's just like looking around. I'm like, what are you doing, Shredder? Like, they're just right there. Did you notice that?
I did notice that. It bothered me a little. And then only one goes after him a second time. I saw it. And I was like, what? What's going on here? Are you that tired? It was a little weird.
It was just little moments like that. You know, it's definitely, it shows its age at times. If you're a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan, I think you can appreciate it. You can have a fun time even today, but it definitely has its like moments like that where you're just like, what? It's just weird. I go back to the flashbacks of Splinter attacking Shredder, like that puppet jumping on and attacking him. I still give a lot of credit to Jim Henson and everything, but that was kind of awkward. I think of like just weird stuff. There's that meme. It's now a meme of they're at that house, and I think it's Donatello. He opens his mouth. You can see the actor's mouth inside of the mouth. Did you catch that?
I did not catch that. I must have been looking at my notes.
Oh, it's freaky. It's like, wow. Like you can see it clear as day. And I was looking for it because I remember a screenshot of it.
Funny.
If you look it up.
That's funny.
Oh, stuff like that. It's just, you laugh about it now, but it does show its age at times. I mean, what else? Anything else to touch on overall?
So I did want to say this real quick, and I know we've been harping on it, but I just want to bring this out again. I was looking for quotes like I always do, and I usually jot down ones that I think are funny or have some kind of strength to them. And the dialogue was really quick. And so I ended up looking online for quotes. And honestly, there's not too many quotes without foul language. And that's the first movie I think we've covered that's like that. And that really shocked me. I was really shocked.
Yeah. Again, we'll stress it again. It's surprising. Like
it is.
I think this is more of the family friendly one, and it could have been worse. We will stress that. Like it certainly could have been worse, but it was just still a surprise. I agree with you. I was taken back from just the language in it. I do have a quote I'll throw in the mix that I did laugh at was Raphael gets ambushed by the thugs kind of halfway through the movie. He falls through and they're surrounding him, trying to tend to him. But then all the thugs, the Foot Clan come in through the windows. They bust through the windows. And Michelangelo looks around and he's just like, I thought insurance salesmen were pushy. I laughed at that one. I was like, okay, that's a good one. There's a lot of those just cheesy lines. Some of them stick. Some of them are, I actually rolled my eyes a little bit. I was kind of like, okay, it probably worked really well for the time, but I don't know if they were just dated or I just didn't laugh as much as that joke. But I was like, I'm going to throw that one in the mix at least. So, all right. I think there's so much more we can cover, but I think we covered that pretty good. So let's get to your fun facts. I'm really interested to hear what you got.
I've got some good ones. There's some technical ones that'll be interesting. So to help disguise how cumbersome and slow the turtles' costumes were, dialogue scenes were shot in 23 frames per second, so that when they were played at normal speed of 24 frames per second, they appeared a bit sharper. For the same reason, fight scenes were shot at 22 or 23 frames per second. Now that one, for like movie buffs, that's going to blow their minds, because so they actually shot at a different frame rate just so it would look better in the end result. And I thought that was really cool. That's not a technique that I don't think they'd use very often. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, I've
of course,
never
nowadays it's digital, so it wouldn't make a difference.
Right. Everything's just so CGI. That's where I really appreciate the special effects. If you think they look dated, they do, but I still can respect it. Like at the time, that was pretty amazing. And it's still kind of amazing what they had to work with when you look at it from the grand scheme of things. So that's really cool.
The next one I found, the film was set in New York City. Actually, much of the filming took place in North Carolina, with only a couple of shots done in New York City to capture the famous landmark areas.
Okay. So like probably the house and the hideout that they're in especially, but that's still interesting. Wow. That they filmed most of it. That's real. Yeah. I would not have guessed that. If you made that a trivia question, you could just say I failed that one.
I should have made that a trivia question. All right. Anyway, the last one is going to really blow your mind.
Okay.
So you said the movie, the budget was like 13.5 or 13 million or something.
Yeah.
So Pizza Hut engaged in a $20 million marketing campaign tied into the film, despite the fact that Domino's Pizza was used as the product placement in the film itself. Items included advertising in print, radio, and television, and several rebate coupons. Pizza Hut also sold a music album of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles debut album coming out of our shelves, featuring songs by the Turtles, Splinter, and April O'Neil.
Wow. This might be one of the best fun facts I've heard. No, the others are great, but wow. That blew my mind. Wow. 20 million. And like you said, it's ad placement of Domino's. They order pizzas and it's Domino's. And Domino's was known for its delivery. So that makes sense. It worked well. I'm glad that Domino's was kind of that pizza of choice for them. But that Pizza Hut,
yes,
that would have been another trivia question I would have never.
And another thing I remember, like I'm thinking about, like I'm trying to think of ads, and I'm thinking a lot of pizza ads were them eating Pizza Hut. Yeah. And so that is mind blowing.
It is. Wow. Man, that takes me back. That's like I'm starting to picture those Pizza Hut. Because $20 million, that's like you could not avoid that. That was everywhere. And as you're saying that, I remember certain movies, Pizza Hut was on their game with ads. Like
they were.
A lot of movies I associate with Pizza Hut. So maybe they should go back to old times. That's what they're missing nowadays. They aren't hitting the right movies for their ads. But that is so cool. Wow. That mind blown right there.
Well, it's time for our fun fact trivia question. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm gonna get this. I know I am. I got this.
I hope this question makes sense. Okay, so I'm gonna say it twice. Okay, so filming began in July of 1989, a mere 2 weeks after the theatrical release of which 1989 movie? Filming began in July 1989, a mere 2 weeks after the theatrical release of which 1989 movie? A, Field of Dreams, B, Batman, or C, Look Who's Talking?
I'm just going to go with what popped to me. I'm going to say Batman.
You can lock that in?
I'm locking it. You gave me a chance.
You're correct. You got it right.
Yes.
Woo!
I did it. Yes. my losing streak has been done away with. Yes. There's just something telling me like, man, it really, the dark, again, going back to that dark, it something was in there. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it before I overthink this, because The second I overthink it, that's where I trip myself up. So, all right. That's cool, though. That makes so much sense with the time period. Yeah, Batman, another one. Man, those late 80s into 90s, there was just movies that were everywhere. This was no different. No different at all. 1990 was dominated by this movie. So, all right. Well, thank you for those fun facts and the trivia. I am back on track. I'm feeling awesome now. So before we get to our reviews, let's take a look around the net. Let's just see what kind of reviews are out there. So, Seth, what are you seeing out there?
So smells_like_cheese said, this movie rocks. One of my favorite childhood memories, 8 out of 10.
Right. Yeah, that's a lot of feedback I've been hearing. It's just kind of the childhood, and a lot of people, this is what they associate Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with. Yeah.
The Yeti says, one of the most underrated movies ever, 10 out of 10.
You're chuckling there.
Well, the Yeti, I picked it out because that was hilarious. Well done, reviewer.
I love these names. They never get old. I love it.
And another repeat offender, Ionic Breeze Machine, said, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles mostly successfully jumps into live action, silliness and all, 7 out of 10.
There you go. Mostly they're on the positives. And again, I think a lot of people grew up with this movie. It's just hard not to associate with it. So that's not a surprise at all. Well, before we get to our reviews, we do actually have a few that messaged us. They wanted to share their thoughts. So we thank you guys so much. Just as a reminder, if you want to shoot us a line, we're going to try and put out there what movies we're going to be covering. So if you want to share your thoughts or even past movies we've covered, feel free to email us. We'll give you the link and all that stuff at the end. But want to highlight a few of our fans, ones that have actually been on our show before. This one is from Ajax. So he shared his review. He said, Splinter reminded me of the rodents of unusual size from The Princess Bride, so he creeped me out a bit. But the turtles are fun, and I collected the figures and bought one with my allowance every week. My friend and I would always try to get the rare ones. I'd take it home. So there you go. We got a take it home for the 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And this one is coming from Ben. He's also been on our show, and he wrote, I keep coming back to Super Mario Brothers, how it was the same plot that someone needed rescued, but they nailed it out of the park. I thought it would be corny from what I heard. This was my first watch of this movie ever. I would take it home and look forward to rewatching it again. I really, really liked it. I found that pretty cool that this was his first viewing. What did you think of that?
It's hard to believe, but there are some movies that we've covered we've never seen before, so I understand.
That's just wild to me, but that's really cool. 2 take it homes. So let's get down to it. Let's see if that streak continues. I have to ask you, Seth, when it comes to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the 1990, are you going to take it home? Are you going to watch it at grandma's? Or are you going to hide it in the attic?
So I was hoping to give this a lot of praise, but at the end of the day, I'll watch this at grandma's.
Okay. So I was really torn with this one. I was back and forth, and not in a good way. I'm just going to put that out there. We praise this one. I'm really happy we praise this one because I think this movie has a special place in people's memories. With that said, I didn't really watch it when I was younger. It wasn't until I was older. So I'll admit I was kind of back and forth, like I'm going to hide this in the attic or I could watch it at grandma's. It's right there for me. I think it's a tough watch, at least on the format. You mentioned that on Blu-ray, so that kind of changed my rating, actually. I'm going to say right now, I had it as a hide it in the attic because it was so dark. Like, I couldn't pick up on some things. And I do appreciate, again, I can't say enough about the special effects, the nostalgia. My goodness, the nostalgia, just seeing all the turtles at once. But it does have good about it. Like, again, you can treat it like it's an episode of the show. So I actually kind of want to go back and watch it on a better format. So I'm going to put it actually as a watch it at grandma's. And I'll be very anxious to see what my final rating would be for that, because I did have a good time with it. I didn't really highlight what my kids say. I do such a terrible job of that, but they were neutral. They didn't really have a reaction to this one. They're just kind of like, okay. And here I am sitting like, oh man, I got all this nostalgia. I remember this is taking me back. It's just really interesting to see modern takes on it. I think I've heard some that say they've watched it for the first time and they're just like, this is so bad. This is terrible. So hearing that, going back to Ben's review, that's actually encouraging to see that once can watch it for the first time. I think you can still have a great time with this. That's great to see. So, but that
I did make a note to go along with what you're saying. So it didn't live up to the memories, but it still has some scenes that I enjoyed. It's not totally bad. Like I couldn't think about leaving this one in the attic. I couldn't do it, hiding it, because it still had some redeemable qualities, and it might not have been what I'd hoped it was going to be in my memory, but it was still an entertaining movie. So I look forward to watching it again.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. I like that. And yeah, it's something that I didn't hate it. It's just, it was kind of a tough, it was so dark. I couldn't hardly see stuff on it. So I'm trying to picture, is that what they were trying to go for? And you were talking about Batman. I mean, Batman was really dark, but I don't remember I was literally straining, of watching. And if it was VHS, I would have been like, it's but this was DVD. I was watching it on a HD TV. I was just really surprised that, unfortunately, it didn't age very well.
Wow.
But with that said, it's an entertaining movie. It's got good action. It might be on the violent side here and there, but the action is really well done. Again, Jim Henson, I'm still blown away by that. It's so well done. So I feel very good about watching this at Grandma's. This actually is a very good rating in that way of, I actually do want to go back, but I want to make sure I watch it on Blu-ray. With that insight, you really helped me out on that. So I really do appreciate it. But I love it. So many great thoughts. We had some great reviews in there, getting different points of views. But there you go, folks. There is another movie in the books. 35 years ago, this film came out. Still cannot believe it. Well, before we wrap up, Seth, why don't you tell the good people where they can find and connect with us?
You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You can email us at moviesatgrandmashouse@gmail.com. We have a newsletter, so keep up to date with all things Movies at Grandma's House. We're on Patreon, so become a member. Go to moviesposters.com and type in Grandma's House 15 at checkout for 15% off.
You go. Yeah, be sure you're on our newsletter again. It's where you'll be up to date on all things Movies at Grandma's House. We got some free goodies, and we're going to be coming out with some more in the near future. So if you want to be up to date, be sure you're signed up. And I have to make mention again, what was so special about covering this is it's the 35 years Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but they are re-releasing this in theaters. So maybe I have to go watch this in the theaters, because there's also going to be those bonus scenes that they're going to add. So if you have not seen it in a while, that might be a great way to watch it. It's going to be coming to a theater near you here in the month of August. Well, that's going to do it for now, but we will be back to Grandma soon enough. So in the meantime, remember to be kind and rewind. We'll see you next time.